Welcome back to Pangea 2018. We meet here in the northern woodland, where we will meet up with newer, stranger dinosaurs. This is a Dimorphodon, a very strange pterosaur, and he is perched on a fallen tree. He is probably up here because, well, the snow down here hasn't quite melted yet, but the streams and rivers have. Well, they've cleared up, and perhaps he will go down for a drink. He swoops down, and he meets up with two juvenile ankylosaurs. Now, they're not bothered by his presence because with the armor that covers most of their body, they're very well defended, and he is not the biggest threat to them since he isn't the biggest pterosaur. But the Dimorphodon senses a danger that the other two dinosaurs do not. He flies off to avoid the approaching danger. What this danger is a strange carnivore known as Carnotaurus. With his tiny arms and large horns atop his eyebrows, he is one strange predator. And he is stalking the two ankylosaurs. He waits for the perfect moment and then sets his plan into action. With his massive, tough skull, he has managed to ram into the ankylosaurus and knock him into the water. He is very vulnerable now, so the Carnotaurus inflicts the coup de grace. He drags his kill up to the shore, and he digs into his meal. The other ankylosaur fled the scene while he had the chance, all while the Dimorphodon watched carefully from the treetops. Meanwhile, on the other side of the lake, we meet up with a family of Triceratops. And the two brothers of this family are preparing to clash. They're in a struggle for a while, but then the older one knocks his brother over. He roars in victory and then goes to get a drink. But this was not an act of bullying, but rather it was preparing the young one for the mating scene. For when he grows up, the stronger he is, the better chance he will find a mate. So he goes to get a drink as well. But after they have bathed and gotten a drink, it's time for them to move back to the nesting grounds. Back on the south, we meet up with Ian on his quest to find a new home. And he has just stumbled upon something that might be suitable. A large tree in the prairie. It appears that a previous nest was made here, so he doesn't even have to do much work. But he may have just stumbled into a terrible trap. He notices the carcass of a juvenile Carnotaurus. He's very confused why this would be here. But when he looks over, he sees who has killed it. It is Dusty and Silver, and they are rather hungry at the moment, which is why they killed it in the first place. Ian is terrified and runs off before this can go any further. Luckily, the two raptors seem more fixated on their kill than on Ian. Dusty is guarding their territory while his mate eats, but he notices something that might give them trouble. It is a huge, terrifying Megaraptor. Megaraptor was the largest raptor ever recorded, and it is hungry. But the two will not give up their kill so easily. And the battle commences. And finally, after a huge struggle, the Megaraptor is dead. While all of this was happening, Ian was getting a quick snack. But now that the battle has unfolded, he knows it is his time to go. Next, we meet up with our old friends, the Stegosaurus herd. And they have finally reached the rich vegetation on the northern side of the desert. And they are greeted by 2 brachiosaurs as well. They can finally feast in peace. The brachiosaurs don't seem to mind their presence at all. And would you look at that? A small pool of water has formed. The stegosaurs will definitely make this their new home. But, as always, danger lurks behind them. 2 Albertosaurus. Now at first, they were hunting the brachiosaurs, who were minding their business peacefully. But now that they've seen the Stegosaurus herd, they are even hungrier and have a larger appetite. They single out the leader, who is drinking peacefully, and they attack. But before they get the chance, the bull male turns around in a defensive position. This will be a much more difficult fight for them now. He starts taking swings, but the predators are persistent. He was stabbed right in the eye, but he is persistent and he is not deterred. They start to close in. This might be it for our valiant leader, when all of a sudden, one of them was stabbed in the ankle by another member of the herd. It appears that the rest of the herd has joined in to help their leader. The brachiosaurs stare in amazement. Even the youngest has joined in. And just like that, the predators are down. As the brachiosaurs go back to feeding, the herd rejuvenates. Ian smells the scent of fresh blood. And he comes over to see the Stegosaurus herd and the dead Albertosaurus. Perhaps this can be his new home as well. Nevertheless, he goes and digs in. The herd does not mind his presence at all, considering he is a very small dinosaur, meaning he will barely be able to harm any of them. And thus, they go back to feeding as well. Join us next time to see what more adventures await here on Pangea 2018.